What's up, Dragon Ballers? Today I'm coming at you with a profile for a leader I think a lot of people might have slept on when it got revealed, because, let's be real, a lot of the cards that released with it were really, really bad. But today we're talking about Yellow Set 19 Piccolo. So this guy, he's interesting. I've been trying to make every Piccolo leader work. Piccolo's my favorite character from Dragon Ball. So I wanted to see if I could make a deck for this leader that could actually compete. So let's talk about what I came up with. I'm going to go over most of the cards because I'm assuming a lot of people don't know what this archetype does. So please bear with me while I do that. First, let's go over the leader. So it's a Piccolo SH leader, Namekian God Master's Teachings. So it does actually have the God special trait, which is interesting. We don't make use of that, but that is something you could make use of. Auto, when this card attacks, draw a card. Activate main. This is the first thing you should do every game. Look through your deck, place up to one Pan SH card with an energy cost of 2 or less from your deck under this card, and shuffle your deck, and then negate this skill for the game. And then this is the Pan SH card that you put under it. We'll talk about that in a second. Awaken when your life's at 4 or less, or you have a Shenron SH Z battle card in play. You can draw a card, untap 1, and go down to 6 life. Awaken side, we got our orange Piccolo. Super cool leader. If you saw the recent movie, I'm sure you'll mess with this guy. Yet Unseen Power is the name of the leader. It's a blocker. When this card attacks, draw a card. When this card activates blocker, it gains 10,000 power for the battle. So it becomes a 25k on the block. And then at the end of your at the end of your turn, switch this card to active mode. So you get to swing with it, draw a card, and then it stands up to block. Not much else to say about that. I do want to talk about the Z Awaken though, because we are trying to get here as fast as possible, so we can go from being a very turtle style defensive deck to then applying a lot of good pressure every turn. So this is our Z leader. It costs 2 Z energy, and it costs 2 energy, which is a lot, but we have a way to get around that. You can Z Awaken when your life's at 3 or less on a yellow Piccolo SH. When this card attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO it. So some removal on our leader, super cool. Auto, once per turn, when you use a card in a combo, draw a card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. So we have a built-in power of a Super Saiyan, pretty good. Activate battle once per turn, pay an energy, send 2 Master's Teachings cards from your drop to your warp, and choose up to one of your opponent's choose one of your Piccolo SH cards, and it gains double strike for the battle. So we have a lot of good targets for that. This guy turns our dudes into double strikers, which is just huge value. So the way we kind of cheat him out, rather than pay the 2 energy to Z Awaken, we can just pay 1 energy and 1 Z energy for Krillin. It makes it so that you're paying 3 Z energy and only 1 actual energy rather than 2 and 2. It basically just takes away the energy requirement on your Z Awaken. You only have to pay the Z energy requirement. And that's a limit 1. This was errata to say it's only till the end of the turn, or clarified or whatever. So be aware of that. You do have to Z Awaken the turn Krillin is played. It's not for the rest of the game. Next up, let's talk about our Awaken condition. So this is our Shenron SH that we play. It's Granter of Wishes. He's a deflect unique. Permanent, this card can't attack. Auto, if your leader is a yellow Piccolo SH card and you switch this card to rest mode, when you add one of your cards to your Z energy, draw a card. So this is really good because once this is on board, which is usually turn 2, you can start Z charging and you're not losing cards out of hand to do so. Not a lot of decks. I mean, the good decks these days all have a way to charge the energy without losing cards out of hand, and this is our way of doing that. It only has deflect, not barrier though, and it does have to rest itself to draw the card, so it might be tough to keep this in play against some matchups. But it still does its job of coming into play and allowing us to awaken every game because it has deflect. I think there's only a couple cards in the game that are actually gonna be like, nah, I'm gonna kill that thing through deflect, and that's why we have a second one. Just in case they kill our first one, we do want to be able to awaken on our terms and not wait until we're at 4 life. Next up, we play 1 Oolong. Oolong copies big thing. Oolong turn sideways. Oolong do damage. That's what Oolong's here for. Oolong's not as good in this deck because we don't main deck Champa. But he's good at just pushing pressure where you need it. Now Gamma. Gamma, I feel like, should be a staple in yellow Z decks at this point. Permanent. If you have a villainous in play, treat it as if it has no specified cost. That doesn't matter. Auto limit 1. When this card's played, you can choose a villainous, place it in its own job. Blah blah blah. That doesn't matter. Activate main limit 1. Place 1 card from your hand at the bottom of your deck. Remove this card from the game, and until the end of your opponent's next turn, if your opponent activates a villainous or a counter skill, draw a card. So if you're up against a deck that's planning to counter a whole bunch of stuff, you play this at the start of your turn and then start going in. So yeah, that's our Z deck. Not very complicated. I was trying the 3-drop yellow Goku in here. After playing the deck, there's never really a good time to actually play that card. We'd rather spend our energy on other things all the time. So yeah, that's the Z deck. Let's go into the main deck. So the pan that we place under our leader to not awaken, but for free at the start of the game has 2 activate main. Has an activate main and an activate battle. They both cost 1 energy, and they're both limit 1. I don't know why they're limit 1. I don't think there's another way to place this under your leader, but whatever. You can pay a yellow, play this card from under your Piccolo SH leader, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO it. So it's just a 1 cost removal if you need it for something problematic like a secret rare. Pretty good when it comes up. Activate battle. Pay 1. If this card's under your Piccolo SH leader card, choose up to one of your battle cards with Son Gohan in its character name, and it gets plus 5k for the turn. So we do run a dual attack Gohan. This giving it plus 5 for the turn is really powerful. I'll be honest, I haven't used it for that. I'm sure it'll come up at some point, but most of the time you're just using this to kill something. Alright, let's go into the main deck. So first up, we're only running 2 Son Gohan and Piccolo Training's Beginnings. This card just has a wall of text on it. But I guess there's no easy way to explain it. It has deflect, it's a 10k. When it's KO'd, you search top 5 for a Master's Teachings card. So it has an activate battle. Pay 1 energy. It's a limit 1. If your leader is a Piccolo SH, you have 2 or more energy. Add this card from your combo area to your hand. Place another Master's Teachings card from your combo to your drop. Draw a card. Then you can play a 3 or less. So you're going through a whole bunch of steps in order to just pay 1 to play a 3 or less activate battle timing. The 3 that we're usually trying to play is our SGR. Son Gohan, Dependable Young Fighter. The reason we want to play this is on play. If your opponent plays a non-barrier battle card with an energy cost of 5 or more for the turn, it enters play in rest mode. So against some decks like Supreme Kai, like anything that's just trying to spit out some big bodies, this will force them to play low, and we can answer small threats pretty easily. We have a way to grab this out of our deck. That's why we're only running 2. It also doesn't come up in every matchup. So the other utility of our SGR is that when it's Z charged, we can pay 1 to choose a 6 or less and KO it. So if your opponent played something you need to get rid of, it's there for that. We're playing one of the black SGR. Because we're a Master's Teachings leader, we're allowed to use this negate ability from the drop. So if your life's at 4 or less, you add a card from your life to your hand, place a card from hand, bottom of the deck. Your opponent attacks with a battle card. You can play this card from your drop or warp in rest mode and negate the attack. It's cool because we put it in the drop off of our 2-drop. And then it's just there if we need it for the rest of the game. It's also a Master's Teachings that... Oh, I don't know if I mentioned the activate battle on our Z leader. So our Z leader can pay 1 to send 2 Master's Teachings from drop to warp. Give any of our Piccolo SH double strike for the battle. So this is why we don't main deck Champa, because we have it built into our Z leader. So yeah, that putting itself in the drop off of that, and then just being there to negate an attack is really cool. Next up for our Master's Teaching stuff, we are playing 4 of the 5-drop, because honestly, even if you're not swapping into the 8 off of this, you're just paying 1 for a deflect 20k swing, which is really good. And then showing the threat of 1 energy could turn into an 8-drop is always good too, so your opponent might waste stuff to try to deal with this, even if you don't have an 8-drop in hand. So yeah, it's just a good value card. Also, when you swap, the card you swap into gains critical. So a lot of times when I don't have an 8-drop, or I just didn't have the energy to play an 8-drop, I'll play one of these, swing with it, and just leave it there, because I know my opponent's gonna either waste attacks or waste resources getting rid of it. So yeah, the 5-drop's probably the best of the Master's Teaching stuff, besides this next card. Heroic Team. Being able to play this for 1 off of that without having to do the whole like combo 3 things and play it, really good. Giving it crit when it already has dual attack, really good. It draws a card. We can give it another +5 boost with Pan. We can give it double strike with our Z leader. Just all around really good card. Especially being able to play it and give a crit. The other 8-drop we play one of the barrier guy. The barrier guy never comes up. If you're playing against a deck like maybe red or something where you want your 8-drop to live, honestly, I might just cut this and just play the 2 8-drops and go down to like 3 5-drops. I built this to be as competitive as possible, but I've only had about a week of testing with this build, and it's very much still in its rough draft state. This is by no means the final draft of the deck, and it will see some changes before excuse me, before I take it to like an actual tournament. Next up, and the reason the deck is so good in my opinion, is this is the best deck to play the slug package in. Your leader being a blocker is absolutely insane. Like, one of their swings into slug is just going into a 25k leader. And stopping your opponent from drawing cards is always really good. There's not much more to say about slug. I do hard mulligan for the pieces. This is a play that on turn 2 you want to be able to play slug. And the way you do that is you're unawakened. You either charge the Z energy on your opponent's swing, or you're going to swing and charge Z energy. Play the Shenron, awaken. Now you have 2 energy. Play slug. Go into the other slug, swing with him. Now you have Shenron activating bond. And they can't draw. We also play a lot of other cool ways to keep slug live. Super combo lineup. pretty standard, just the 3 Krillin and the secret rare. There's no reason to run any other yellow secret rare. I'm not gonna go into that. We play the 4 token negates and 2 assimilate. So token negate, self-explanatory. We go down to 6 when we awaken. So it's not immediately live, but I got some spice in here that puts us at 5 at will. So the assimilate, we have 2 targets. We have the 2-drop, Training's Beginnings, which enables our floodgate to be played. Or we can just search out the 1-drop slug. So if I'm gonna see one of the 2 in my opening hand, I'd rather see the Super Namekian, because I'm effectively running 6 copies of the baby slug. 2 Realm of the Gods Black Kamehameha, just really good at shutting down big turns. If they played a lot of cards on your turn or something and they swing with something, just being able to get out of 1 swing and then stop 2 more is really, really strong. 1 Power of a Super Saiyan, self-explanatory, same reason, and it replaces itself in your hand as well. And it's free. And Vegeta's Final Flash. I'm only running 1. I think 1 is the proper call right now, because any good player is going to play around this card if they're playing against yellow. So all you gotta do is charge 1 or pitch 1. Show your opponent that you run the card. They're gonna be like, oh, if they got rid of that, they have another one. So Final Flash is goated. Just strip off the triple strike or whatever that's going for game and smile at them. It goes through barrier too. What a great card. Next up is probably the spiciest card in the deck. 3 copies of Sacrifice. Now, I was trying this at 4. I think 4 is a little overkill. Just because we do run a lot of extras to begin with, and we have negates for days. Sacrifice is kind of like a sparking negate or a token negate, but it doesn't care about life total. At any point, if my leader's a Namekian, I can just take a life, negate an attack. So it's an off-color card too, which is why 3 I think is a good number. But you do want to see this turn 1, turn 2, because this will put you from 6 to 5 and allow you to go Sacrifice into Frieza's army reinforcements to keep your slug alive, to put you at 4 life and get you closer to that Z Awaken. Also, worth noting, we don't play Vegeta surmounting the impossible in the Z deck. So Sacrifice and reinforcements are the 2 ways that we're taking life to get to 3. So we do kind of rely on our opponent to attack into us in this build at least. You could run a surmounting. I'd probably cut the second Shenron, just because it does have deflect and they're not gonna have a counterplay usually that early that's gonna hit through deflect. So you could cut the second Shenron, play the 1 Vegeta if you're concerned about awakening early and pushing damage early. But the deck is very good at turtling up, at defending. So I think just like sitting and playing an extra turn is never a bad play with this deck. Next up, we're playing yellow, so we play 4 Robotic Riposte. Riposte shuts down an entire turn most of the time, and negates the attack. Next up, we play 4 Infinite Terror Meta Cooler. So the cool thing about this is live turn 2 in the deck. We're playing Slug and Shenron on turn 2, and because we have a Z battle card in play, we can free negate with this. So our ideal opening hand is the 2 Slug pieces and this card. Because on turn 2, we're going to play the Slug, play the Shenron, play the Slug, and the first swing, as long as they haven't nuked our Shenron off the board, the first swing is going to get meta coolered so that we have a this guy Bontu gets barrier. So Slug has barrier, he has barrier, he's going to sit in active mode. They're not going to be able to deal with him. Slug's a 20k, you have a 25k block on their first swing into him. It's so easy to protect Slug in this deck and just sit there and be like, have fun not being able to draw and trying to punch over a 20k. So yeah, really cool. Really strong slug deck for sure. And then I'm actually playing 3 Swift Retaliations. I was at 2, but I realized because of the way the deck wants to play, you do have to have 5Ks to combo early. And if I see one of these in my opening hand after mulligan, I kind of have to combo it off or charge it. And just having an extra 5K and having extra copies of Cooler to be able to do that is really nice. So yeah, that's my 50. I believe it's 50 cards. I've been sticking to 50 for most decks lately. I feel like consistency is always better than utility, especially when most events are going to be pre-side or best of 3 with side. So yeah, that's the main deck. I could do a quick side deck overview. I do have a small side deck put together. But yeah, super fun deck if you don't mind playing defensively. And it's my favorite character. I get to play some Piccolo cards, so still gotta play like Mecha Frieza and Cooler and stuff, but it's fine. The core of the deck is the Namekians. Alright, so for side deck, we play 2 Melee Matriarch. This is the Dimension Magic Silver Bullet. We play 1 of the Blocker 3-drop. So this, when it's played, you do some extra shit after doing the combo, and he works like Final Flash. So this is like having another copy of Final Flash that is comboable. It's a comboable 5K. In matchups where we really do want to use our Floodgate, I side a 4th copy of the 3-drop and a 3rd copy of the 2-drop. Remember, the 2-drop searchable because it's a 2-drop or less Namekian. We can grab it off Assimilate. In the more aggressive matchups or matchups where I know I'm going to be getting hit by critical attackers early, I might side a Sacrifice, because like a double strike crit early game really does hurt. One more Final Flash if I know I'm playing against like a boss monster deck where they're gonna drop a big threat and try to go for game with it. I'm gonna make sure I have the Final Flash for that, for like a Cell Xeno or something. And if it's Cell Xeno, I might keep both in my hand. So if they snipe one, other one's still alive. Another copy of Realm of the Gods Black Kamehameha for decks that go wide. Just being able to tap down their stuff is really, really valuable. And 1 copy of Death Blaster. Now I might find space to put a 2nd copy because Vegeta GT 6-drop, being able to ramp 4 cards, is absolutely too strong. So having an answer to that, fantastic. If you don't know what this does, it's Cold Bloodlust for any mono yellow leader that runs all mono yellow energy. You have to warp 2 of your mono yellow extra cards with an energy cost of 1 or more. So we can't use Assimilate for that, unfortunately, although Assimilate will put our riposte live early. And the card being played is played in rest mode with its skills negated for the turn. So it's Cold Bloodlust that costs an extra energy because you're not a Frieza's Army leader. Now getting a little spicy here. We have a Super Namekian Might. Couple of these. So this is my answer to Beast Gohan. If my leader is yellow, negate the attack, choose 1 card in my hand and discard it. If I did, choose up to 1 of my opponent's battle cards or unison cards, negate its skills for the turn. So they attack with their Beast Gohan. I negate with this, pitch a card. Now your Beast Gohan's unable to stand up and give itself crit or stand any of your energy or other cards. Beast is probably the strongest SCR in the format right now. So having a side deck answer for it is absolutely necessary in my opinion. And you should have 1 for every color that you're playing. Similarly, the Gohan Floodgate is very problematic for a lot of decks, this one included. I'm talking about the Gohan SH Floodgate that says anytime you wish to attack, you have to bottom deck a battle card with the energy cost of 2 or less to do so. We don't play very many of those, so being able to tyrannical blow that after they've committed an energy to the first part of the play, really strong. I actually lost a game at Nats because my opponent had the tyrannical blows for my Gohan Floodgates consistently. Don't underestimate the power of this card. It is a bloodlust for small things. So based on the matchup, you might find other uses for it. This last spot is kind of weird because, like, being able to rest something ignoring barrier and then start swinging into it is real nice, but I feel like that might not do enough. The real place this card shines is that if your leader's yellow, you can counterattack. Your opponent can only attack with battle cards one more time for the turn. So it's Nimbus without having to discard, but it does not negate the attack. So we can Forbidden Power when they're attacking our Slug, and then block with leader, go to 25, and then they have to combo up into a 25, which we can deal with. So yeah, that's my side deck. That's my main deck. Thank y'all for listening to me. I'm sorry if you heard my laundry in the background. Let me move the side deck out of the way, let you get another look at the main deck. But yeah, I would love to hear your input. I would love to hear any changes you would make. If you've been running this deck, I'd love to hear how it's been going for you and what you're doing differently than I am. Let's make Piccolo fucking broken, man. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out. More content soon.